So you just got done filing your tax return. You have tax documents, you have the actual tax return. Can you just throw that stuff away? Can you shred it? No, you want to keep it for a specified period of time. Let's go through the different scenarios and how long you need to keep those tax documents for. All right, let's go. So what kind of tax documents might you have? You're gonna have W2s, 1099s, you might have financials if you run a business, K1s if you have ownership in a business, you might have receipts, contributions, donations, etc. How long do you need to keep those? We're gonna go in reverse order for the longest period of time you need to keep your records to the shortest amount of time you need to keep records. The longest period of time you need to keep tax records for is if 1, you committed fraud, or 2, you just didn't file. But let's be honest, if you're committing fraud, do you actually have documentation? And if you didn't file, do you have documentations? I'm not sure, but if you didn't do either one of those, if you're committing fraud or you're deciding not to file, keep those records indefinitely. All right, next level down from indefinitely is 7 years. For these two deductions, you want to keep your records for 7 years. 1 being this worthless securities deduction. That means you've owned a stock that has gone to 0 and is AKA worthless, and you've claimed the loss from that stock. You want to keep those records for 7 years. Second, if you have a bad debt expense, which means you've invoiced somebody for services, products, whatever, and they stiffed you, they didn't pay you for that bill, and you're gonna write off that collection of that debt, that documentation needs to be kept for 7 years. All right, next level down, 6 years. If you decide to leave off 25% of your income, let's not do that. Let's not intentionally leave off our income, or you accidentally leave off 25% of your income for a year. You want to keep those records for 6 years. All right, and lastly, this will apply to most people. If you filed your tax return timely and accurately, you want to keep your tax records for 3 years as of the date you filed. So once you pass 3 years after you filed, you can get rid of those tax records because you're no longer going to be subject to audit, and you can safely just shred those documents. Don't throw them out in the trash. Make sure you shred anything that has a social security or banking information on it. But 3 years, gone. Get rid of them. Also, I want to mention 2 exceptions, add-ins, whatever you want to call these. 1 being employment records. If you have employees, you want to keep those records for at least 4 years. And 2, if you have property, whether it's a car, a house, a building, whatever you bought, you want to keep those records indefinitely, especially if you're depreciating them, until you dispose of the property. Once you dispose of the property, as long as you filed timely and accurately, based upon the tax return you filed, you can get rid of those records after 3 years. So, quick recap, if you're going to commit fraud or not file at all, keep those records indefinitely. If you have a bad debt or worthless security deduction, 7 years. If you're going to intentionally or unintentionally leave off 25% of your income, 6 years. If you filed timely and accurately, you can get rid of those documents after 3 years. Hope this was helpful. Have a good rest of the day. Take care. Goodbye.